So are we live right now?
We're recording right now.
Ah, freaking love it. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 4 of the Live Button podcast with Dad the Gamer and Pastorgainz as your host. We are going to be talking about networking with other streamers and content creators. And not only that, but how to build genuine friendships and accumulate this stable of creators that can be real with you, that can walk with you on this journey of content creation, and that can tell you when your content sucks, because everyone needs that in their life and everyone needs to be able to be real with other people. And there's so much fake crap that goes on in the Twitch world and the content creation world that we want to help you navigate that on this wonderful, wonderful day, night, or morning that you're listening to this podcast. So
you're Dad, speaking music to my ears.
I'm loving it, dude. I feel like I'm on a roll. I feel like I'm doing good. Yeah. We've recorded a few of these so far, so I'm going great.
No, we're I mean, you talked about it a little bit. I know, and this is kind of like where my content. A lot of people know me as the blunt truth guy. And, you know, that's I pop in chat or other creators are like, "Oh, Dad the Game, was that the blunt truth guy?" And that's where my my content outside of Warzone is telling people, and once again, this is very subjective to what my view of how I've grown. It's not an absolute positive, this is how it is. This is just how I've grown and how I've had success on growing social media as well as my Twitch. But you talked about growing your circle of friends. I'm fortunate enough to have a little circle of friends that we chat with basically on a daily basis, right? But you want to have those people to be able to give, positive, I don't want to say positive, constructive criticism. If I will send somebody something and I'll say, you know what, let me know what you think about this. I don't want people to say, oh, that looks fantastic, post it, that's going to be great. No, I mean, yeah, obviously if it's cool, if it is great, yeah, obviously if it is great, awesome. Tell me if it's great, right? But listen, if it sucks, tell me it sucks. All right. Tell me, you know what? Hey, you know what? This isn't that great. Right. And I'll give you an example of this. How I posted
I can't wait.
Oh my God. YouTube, first of all, YouTube Shorts, savages. YouTube Shorts is literally a bunch of savages.
The thumbs down button, bro, might as well kick me in the nuts. I hate that button so much.
So I posted a YouTube short recently. Well, I posted the same clip, obviously, on all social media platforms. And it's a clip from Warzone. I hit a sniper shot, and then I jumped up, and I threw a knife. It was in my opinion, it was an above average play for especially a dad gamer, right? So like, I think I started it out. My hook was like, tell me this is not a banger play, right? Bro, let me tell you something. I got ripped apart in YouTube Shorts. Ripped apart. All right. I had so many downvotes. I had so many people telling me that this is not a banger play. Congratulations, you killed one person, and this is not a banger play, right? I even went on in the comments and I apologized to people. I'm like, I'm so sorry for wasting your time. I mean, it was like as a joke, kind of thing. But I'm like, I'm so sorry. Sure. I don't mean to waste your time.
You got to push the algorithm somehow, bro.
Yeah,
like that's hilarious.
So
oh my God.
I wish I would have sent that to somebody, and somebody could be like, dude, this is mediocre at best, right? Like this is not a banger play. You should probably not post this. I wish somebody would have done that to me, because I was like, this is going to be a great clip, right? And the sad part is it got a bunch of views on YouTube Shorts, but just the amount of dislikes and the amount of comments on there from two people telling me that it's a garbage, basically a garbage play. I'm just like, sure, let me go hang my head down and figure out what I'm gonna do with my life now.
Bro, they hated it so much that they had to comment and tell you about it. And that's one thing that I've seen on YouTube Shorts that I have not seen on any other platform is just the sheer amount of disappointment that people have in other people's comments. Like you put something out and then first off, the downvote just makes you, it's like a knife. It just makes you feel bad. Like it doesn't make you feel good at all. And you're like, oh, wow, I put out this thing that I worked really hard on. And people hate it, like it just doesn't make any sense.
And TikTok has the downvote button now too, and I was like, no,
which is a bummer. It's a huge bummer. I don't know why that's there, but going back to like getting the people to even be able to send that to, in order for them to like not approve it, but just kind of give you some affirmation or be real with you and tell you like, hey, this maybe needs some work. Maybe you could do this or that. Getting those people takes time. And 100%. There is a lot, and I mean a lot of really fake stuff that you're going to find, obviously on social media, but like on Twitch too. there's a lot of people that are just out for themselves. It's dog eat dog, and
It really
people
is.
aren't necessarily willing to be authentic or real with other creators because their goal is just Twitch partner. They don't care who they have to step
Yep.
on to get there. So, in order to do this, you kind of have to be pretty careful with who you trust at first, and also who you talk to. Because the way that I did it, so I have right now, obviously, Dad the Gamer and I think how we even happened as friends and content creators and like people who do content and together is like I just saw you on TikTok and I think I just did we cold
Yeah,
call?
you just so you DM me on TikTok and you were just like, hey, I think something along the lines of like, I love, love the stuff, whatever, and I would love
I say
to
I
sit
love
down and
you.
have a. This just got weird. This just got weird.
Like, hey man, I love you so much.
But yeah, you were just like, hey, let's have a conversation, let's talk. And I think,
Yeah,
I mean, I remember having a conversation with you, our very first conversation, and it was very much like this. It was very easygoing. It wasn't, sometimes it's very like awkward having a conversation with somebody, especially somebody you
sure.
don't know, and they want to talk to you, on Discord or whatever. But right away, as soon as we had, I think we chatted for a minute. It was like 45 minutes to an hour. We kind of
Yeah.
just talked about content creation, how we started, what we're doing. But I remember walking away from that, and I was like, I think I just added somebody. Not to be sentimental, but I was like,
No,
hey,
but
I
I
think I
get
just
it, dude.
added
I'm
somebody in my
awesome, man.
circle.
Like, I
Oh my
get it. Yeah.
goodness, this guy's
Well, no,
full of
like,
himself.
but that's the thing too, though, is like I've had those conversations on Discord that have been weird,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yep.
that are kind of odd and like you don't click. And those are the people that like they're great people. I'm not saying
Sure.
they're not
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
people, but those are the people that you do not want in your stable of creators because those are people that if it's weird to just talk to them on Discord, then sending
Yep.
them your content to like check out and like just actually have real conversations with like, hey,
Hmm.
I'm really struggling with this today, or I'm struggling with that today. Like, not necessarily even content related. You
Sure.
still need those people to be able to be real with you and like be able to talk in some form of genuine friendship fashion.
Yep.
So, yeah, like when I cold called you, we just talked about life, we talked about content, we talked about
Yeah.
everything, and then that kind of gave us this, I guess, launch pad into obviously what we're doing right now, but it didn't happen overnight. It was one of those things where like I would show up on your stream, you'd show up in
Yeah.
my stream, I'd be in your Discord back and forth. So it takes time and it takes effort to network with people and get really solid human beings in that area of your content creation where you're comfortable enough sharing that kind of stuff. And like
Yeah.
what I mean, I it comes down to like when I go on TikToks and stuff and I see content creators that I enjoy their stuff, even if they're like bigger than me. Like I messaged Knackers on
Yeah.
TikTok and I was like, hey man, I want to talk to you. You have a lot of really good content. You've been doing this for a really long time. And I think you've experienced what I'm currently experiencing now. Like, would you mind if I picked your brain for a little bit? And he was
Sure.
literally like, hey man, yeah, I'm actually free right now if you want to talk. And we sat down for like an hour and we
Yeah.
just talked. And like, I'm not saying that Knackers is in my content creation circle, but those are the kind of things you have to do to kind of
Yeah.
find out if that's even possible to do with somebody. Is you have to take the initiative, which is I think a lot of streamers are not wanting to do or they don't know how to do.
I think I mean, you touched on it a little bit, and it's not talked about enough, I don't think.
Mhm.
Streaming and growing their people's Twitch, it is 100%. Most people are 100% selfish in how they go about it. In terms
Yeah,
of all it is basically another number, right? How can I get this person? Basically, how can they benefit from it? That's what I
for sure.
genuinely think.
Yeah.
Most streamers out there, which sucks. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not most. I don't want to say most, but a good portion
Mhm.
look at how can they benefit from it, and that's where I really think we'll get in this later on, but support for support, those sort of things, those communities,
Yeah.
that's what those are about, right? And it's disappointing that people fall into those. But you you talked about reaching out to like Knackers, right? And he was immediately
Mhm.
like, yeah, absolutely, man. Listen, I have never, for me, the reason why I wanted to do a podcast is because I just generally enjoy talking about content creation, streaming, and I'm passionate about it. And
Mhm.
I always say my door's open to anybody. I'm an open book, and I love having conversations with people about content creation. And if you ever reach out to somebody and they're like, and you say, hey, you know what, I would love to pick your brain, right? I'd love to have a conversation with you about things. And they turn you down, or they're just, not very receptive of that. That's probably a sign that you need to move on to somebody else, right?
For sure.
And
Yeah.
now obviously there's some, maybe we'll call them parameters that you probably should, check before you contact, you connect with somebody like that. Like me, I'm not gonna go, go hit up like Nick Merckx. Hey, can we have a conversation? Like, the
Yeah,
fuck,
for sure.
get out of here, right? Nick
Yeah,
Merckx could be like,
yeah.
not even get respond, right? Reach out to somebody that's, roughly around kind of your size, who you want to be like, hey, you know what? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? And really, once again, growing that network of people to a level where you have some trust there, where you can say, hey, you know what? Rather your failures or your successes, you can share those with with that person, and they can give you that honest feedback of, hey, you know what? Yes, no, maybe so, and not just that whole like, because I feel like if you share something, amongst your community, I really feel like most of your communities can be like, awesome, yeah, right? Because they're
Because they support
kind of,
you.
yeah, exactly. They're cheering you on, right? They're like, this, we want this person to succeed, versus sending it to somebody outside your community and saying, hey, you know what? Let me know what you think. And that's where, you're going to get that honest feedback and say, hey, you know what? Maybe not. Let's change this. Let's tweak that. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that's kind of where, once again, that networking comes into play, because now, I mean, it blows me away that, the people that I'm able to just message and just say, hey, you know what, just get some feedback from, right? A year ago, I would have been astonished, but now it's like, I've kind of built up a little bit enough to where I have somewhat of a reputation where I can reach out and contact these people and say, let's have a conversation. And not to say, if you're a streamer who's at, say for example, 3 to 5 viewers, that you can't reach out to other bigger content creators. By all means, you want to have those conversations with larger content creators, because you are trying to, learn from them, right? So, you have to be selective on who you want to reach out. And for me, Pastorgainz reached out and we had a conversation. Once again, as soon as we hung up from it, I was just like, that was actually like a nice conversation to have. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't anything like that. He's a cool dude. I feel like him and I are on the same level in terms of how we see content creation, streaming, and we agree on a lot of things and we disagree on a lot of things. And that's why I think, we make this great podcast team, is, we have these different point of views that we're able to express. But, now, once again, we've networked, we have conversations, and I would encourage people to, when you start networking, get, for us, I mentioned this earlier, we have a Discord where, me and a bunch of other creators, not a bunch, but a few other creators are in there. We have conversations about content creation, nothing else. I'm saying that's all it is how, I tried this today, or I did this today. I did that today. I did that today. And it's this conversation of back and forth. Oh, how'd that work for you? How'd that work for you? And that's kind of what Pastorgainz talks about in terms of your circle of creators that you want to have in your circle, in your corner, to be able to have those conversations with.
Yeah. And I think also too, you need those people so badly to help share your successes with. Like, you need people to celebrate with you. Like, this content creation journey is a very lonely journey. It is. There's a lot of just you and a computer screen and video editing and streaming.
That's
and
tough.
like, it's very mentally wearing on you, and it's very mentally challenging, and it can be. But if you have those people that are gonna help you not only in your failures, but also help celebrate your successes, I don't know, it makes the journey easier, and it makes it much more worthwhile to do it with people than just doing it alone. And we've been talking so far here on like, well, just Discords, call somebody. Well, some people are not comfortable doing that. So how can you then get known by somebody without, like, even before the Discord call, right? Like, even before you reach out on whatever, be in people's comment sections. If you like a streamer, if you like a streamer and you like the content they make, and I would reiterate what Gamer said, if you're around the same size, this typically works better. If you're a very small creator and you're trying to, like, let's say you have 2 to 3 viewers and you're trying to reach out to somebody who has 100 viewers, they may say yes, but they're probably more likely to say no because they don't know you. But if you are in their comment sections on their TikToks, having conversations with them, reacting to their content. They constantly see your name flash up. If you're in their Twitch stream and you're just talking to their community, hanging out, like no self promo, but just talking to their community,
Sure.
engaging with the streamer, then if you've been doing that for about a month and they've seen you everywhere, by the
Yep.
time you reach out and say, hey, I have some questions and I was wondering if you could potentially answer them for me, they are much more likely to say, oh, of course, like what can I help you out with? Because they
100%.
recognize who you are, they recognize you're part of their community, they recognize you enjoy their content and you've interacted with their content on a regular basis. And then that opens up the window for the Discord call. Like you can be a psychopath like me and just Discord call random people after you get there, after you like Twitter DM them and be like, hey, what's your Discord name? I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Or you can be much more casual about it, but very intentional about it and go through the steps of, okay, I'm going to follow them on social media. I'm going to show up in their streams. I'm going to enjoy and interact with their content. So they start recognizing my name going around. And then you can go into the Discord call. And then after that, man, like if you either vibe with them, awesome. Like
Yeah.
maybe throw this idea out of like, hey, I'm trying to surround myself with really good people in content creation. And I was wondering if you could be one of those people that I could bounce ideas off of. And, even if I'm just having a bad day, like, can I just tell you about
Yeah.
my bad day? Because like, dudes in general in content creation, like we don't really talk at all about anything going on in our
That's
heads.
society as a whole, but yeah.
So it's like having that has like I have a few, not a few, but I think I have two different circles of creators. And one is like, hey, here's what I'm doing in my content. Here's how this went, blah, 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 which is what you and I were just talking about.
Sure.
And then I have another one where we also do that, but it's a lot smaller. It's like 3 dudes. And we talk about everything from like, hey, how are you mentally doing with this? Like, how's
Yeah.
everything going with that? Like, and it gets deeper, but it also has a place for like, hey, here is the content that I'm putting out. What do you guys think about this? Here's an idea I have. Like, how is this going to work? Have you had experience with this? So you can really set this up to be very beneficial and very, very good for you without forming a follow for follow stream team.
That's exactly it. Because I think when people hear the term, networking, one, it's a very broad term. Network. I mean, you could talk about networking a lot, but when people talk about networking, it all of a sudden, becomes almost like this. For some people, it becomes like this, follow for follow, support for support kind of thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and it doesn't have to necessarily be that, right? We talk about the first half of surrounding yourself with good content, or I would say good content creators that are, roughly around your size, who you could bounce ideas off of, right? Get into a Discord and say, man, today I'm working on this. What do you guys think about this, right? And then to iampastorgainz, what he's talking about, the mental part of it, because it is tough. It is relentlessly exhausting doing content creation, because there have been multiple days where I'm just like, I'm not feeling it today. Like, I don't want to post a TikTok. I don't want to I don't want to tweet. I don't want to live stream. And outside of, we're not going to get too far into it, but once again, like men as a whole, we just don't express our feelings, right? So we just keep them all bottled up, and then we're just like, we'll wait till tomorrow, right? But having that close circle of friends that you can not only bounce ideas off of, but just be honest with and say, today sucks, man. Like, whatever. My video bombed yesterday. I'm kind of tired. Whatever. Just to kind of like vent to. That's what you want. You want that circle of friends, but then you start to get into the networking part, and that's where, iampastorgainz and I, we chatted for a bit, a couple times, I think, and then finally, I think you were like, hey, let's get a co-stream together. Like, I'll play some Warzone, and so that's where that networking comes into play, and you start doing some co-streams together. You start creating content together, like maybe, I don't know, like a podcast like this.
Who even knew, dude?
I know, right? Or, obviously live streaming, right? And I use this example in one of my TikToks. The best example that I've seen for networking in recent memory, and obviously I know he's a big streamer, and the other guy's a big streamer now too, but is Dr. Disrespect and Z-Laner. I don't say Z-Laner was a nobody, but Z-Laner was still, a growing content creator. And then he was hitting some banger plays in Warzone. Somebody sent Dr. Disrespect his stuff, and then next thing you know, they're playing together, and now Z-Laner is very, 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 very big streamer now. And that's a perfect, and to to Zlander's credit, Dr. Disrespect has grown because of Zlander as well, because Zlander's community is now part of, Dr. Disrespect's community. And so they both benefited from that relationship in terms of growth on their Twitch streams. And obviously, they're good friends. They play a lot of games together. They make great content together. And that's kind of what your goal should be when you talk to other content creators, not necessarily having this thought process of like, how can I benefit from this? Because that's the wrong way to go about it. That is 100% the wrong way you're going to go about it. Because
for sure,
if you're thinking about that like that, it's going to become a relationship that is not genuine. But instead, think about it once again, just having easy conversations with people, and then being able to transition and saying, let's play some games. I want to create content from your stream. We're gonna have a good time and enjoy each other's company, playing streams, or whatever, live streaming, creating content, and obviously messaging offline.
Yeah, and I think when done well, when all this is done well, the fruit that you see from this is collaborations, and you see community bleed over. And what I mean by that is, I'm gonna name drop here, dude. I'm gonna name drop. In the Twitter Spaces that I do, all that wouldn't have happened unless I had started talking to the Daily Dad on TikTok. And then I made a Discord call, the Daily Dad, and we talked. I'm pretty sure I talked to him on Discord. I think I talked to him on Discord, but then I just started showing up in his streams, and then I really liked what he was all about. And I was like, hey, I have this idea. I think you'd be perfect for it. Like, let's do a Twitter Spaces together. And he was super down for it. And then I have some of the people from the neighborhood, which is his community, coming over into my community because he's talking about what we've done, and they're curious about that. I have some people in my community that bleed over into his community. So if you do this correctly, you then start forming a network of streamers where you all almost have one rotating community a little bit. Because of just the natural bleed over, because some streamers are going to vibe well together. You have kind of the same vibe overall, which is going to attract kind of the same people. And if you have two people that have kind of the same type of community, it's going to be very easy for everybody to like mesh in and have a good time and kind of naturally progress. So if you do this correct, and I don't want this to sound like manipulative or anything, because that's not what I'm trying to say at all. But if you do it right, you are going to meet more people in other streamers' community unintentionally, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah. So I mean, you talked about the community bleed over, and I've seen that, myself. I have a lot of people in my community that are in other communities, and vice versa. And I think obviously I don't, it shouldn't be, but you never own, but everybody's part of multiple communities. And if you go in somebody else's live stream and you see somebody in your community in there, like that's a good thing. Like you're like,
that's
cool.
Okay.
Like we're branching out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not. I know Twitch is a very competitive space. It's extremely competitive. We've talked about that a little bit in terms of the oversaturation, but it's a good thing, because people just talk about. There's a couple streamers that I will always support, and I not a couple, but I mean there's quite a few, but that I had talked very highly of, and that's because their community has bled over significantly to my community, and vice versa. And obviously I benefited from that. Just like they benefit from that as well. But one thing I would suggest that people do is network with people that I don't want to say play the same game, that are like you. All right. For me, obviously, Pastorgainz and I are very similar in our ideals and how we've grown in our content creation. We're very much alike. We're very much alike in that, right? And that's why, and obviously, a very chill dude, very much like me, right? Like we're not, we're I feel like have a very similar personality in that. And then, but like for example, the Degenerate Patriot. I swear I can't talk. For people that have been on my live stream, they know that I struggle to read and I struggle to talk sometimes. All right,
Me too. Words are difficult. Bro.
The DP, as I'll briefly say his name. Him and I, we played a lot of games together. We're very, very similar in terms of our background. We're both veterans, and then we both play the same game, right? I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to go try and network and contact somebody outside of my circle, the people that I know or maybe have connections to. if they don't play, for example, Warzone, right? I'm not going to go jump into a different category, say, for example, a variety streamer and say, hey, let's get some games in. No, like I'm not a variety streamer. They may be a variety streamer and they may play Warzone once or twice, but like Warzone is my content.
Sure.
That is all my content. I'm not going to sit there and go network with that person and say, let's get some games in, let's have a conversation. Now, maybe we can talk and about, Twitch streaming, that sort of thing. But in terms of content creation, in terms of having that kind of relationship, I'm probably not going to go do that because, we don't have, I don't say anything in common, but we're on different, I guess, yeah, you can say that we don't have anything in common in terms of the games that we
different
stream.
Paths.
Yeah, different paths, right? You want to make sure you connect with people that are, if say, for example, I don't even think this is considered a virus streamer, but if you're somebody who plays maybe Apex, Fortnite, and Warzone, those are three pretty common games. They're all BRs. They relatively have the same audience. So yeah, go network with those kind of people. But really, they should be people that just because a streamer might have, they average 30, 40 more viewers than you, don't just go network with them just because they have more viewers than you. Go network with them because, they're a similar person. They have a similar personality. They play similar games together. And you can go create good content from them or with them.
Yeah. And also, you hit on this probably like 10 minutes ago, and I've been thinking about this for a while. It is so important to network with people that have the same content creation drive as you do. So like, let's say you get into a group of people and they're all like gung ho about content. They're pushing each other forward. They're pushing you forward. If you're serious about this, you need to be surrounding yourself with other content creators who are constantly learning, constantly pushing boundaries on like good things and like doing new stuff in content creation and constantly bettering themselves to then be able to get to the next level and next echelon of content. If you are networking with other streamers that are just content doing the same old thing every single day, but you're not, you're going to feel like you're pulling them along, or you're going to feel like this disjointed feeling, and it's not going to work. Every single content creator that I have reached out to has been somebody who I either admire their work ethic, or I see my work ethic in their stuff, or I just think they would be a really, really chill, awesome person to hang out with and do content with. But never have I tried to network with somebody who's not as driven as I am to push the boundaries and do new things and better myself in the content creation world, because it's going to sound so callous and so bad, but it slows you down. It slows
100%.
you down when you're trying to pull other people along with you that don't want to go. And it's just plain and simple. If you want to get to a place, find other content creators that want to go to that place and go there together. That's the best thing I can say about it.
Yeah, and I think I've said this before, but there's not like this, I'm better than you because I'm putting more work in, because obviously people have lives and things that they're going on, and that I'm somebody who takes this very serious, and I'm very, trying, and I'm putting a good effort into this, just like, yourself and so many others, right? But you're 100% right. I'm probably not going to go, network or collaborate with somebody who isn't as, serious and committed to this. Maybe they're doing, Twitch streaming recreational, but they've grown, to a decent size, but they're just like there because they've been streaming on Twitch for six years, and they grow in a little bit. I'm probably not gonna go network with them because I'm somebody I'm like, yo, I'm in this. I'm figuring stuff out. I'm learning, and just like you said, I want to pair with somebody, or I want to work with somebody, create content with somebody who has that same kind of drive. Because you're absolutely right. They're gonna slow you down if they don't have that same drive. But once again, it's not. We're all kind of have our different levels that we're putting into this, or different effort that we're putting into this. I know plenty of streamers who are like, I just do this for fun, or I'm trying to grow, but I don't have a lot of time to put in this, right? Not to say that's obviously a bad thing. That was me a year ago, right? A year and a half ago. That was me. I was 100% just like, I'm just trying to, figure out what this is. And then the damn content creation bug done caught me, and I'm hooked in for life now.
Yeah, you guys are just so good. And I think the last thing I'll say about this is just kind of like, if you don't have a ton of time to put into content creation, that's okay. Everyone's
100%.
got different goals. Everyone's got different journeys.
Yep.
Like there's so many people that get crapped on because they only do streaming as a hobby. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be this like lifetime career goal dream. If you like streaming for 5 people and you enjoy that with your whole heart,
100%.
stream for those 5 people and don't even worry about what anyone else says. If you want to grow and if you want to really take this seriously, also do that. But you don't let anybody force you to go one way or the other
Yep.
because it's going to steal your joy. Like do what you want to do. Obviously, if you want to grow, like definitely listen to this podcast for sure. But like if it's just one of those things where if you want to do exactly what you want to do and don't want to listen to anybody about it, don't network, don't make content on other platforms, don't
Sure.
do those
Yeah,
things
yeah.
and
100%.
enjoy what you're doing. Like
Yep.
that's totally legit. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can also find people in network who want to do the exact same thing as you're doing and just play games with them and
Play
stay a
games and have a
small
good time.
streamer and have a
Yep.
hobby, like and find friends. So
on that
Yeah.
note, thank
Yeah.
you everybody for listening. Once again, you can find myself twitch.tv/DadTheGamer with the 3 at the end in place of the E. I'm on all social medias: TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. What about you, Pastorgainz?
Yeah, dude. So you can find me at twitch.tv/PastorGainz as well as iampastorgainz on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. And then you can also find this podcast on every single social media as well as the Live Button Pod. Just Google that under every single social media and you will find us. So hope you guys have a wonderful night. We will see you guys back in episode 5. God, already episode 5.
5. Yeah, crazy.
And we hope you guys have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.